Dreams are important to me. Why do I dream?
Well, we think dreams are a wonderful tool. Here is the way it works. That which I think, which brings forth a subsequent feeling, and that which manifests in my experience is always a vibrational match. So the life that I live is a byproduct of the thoughts I think and the mood that those thoughts therefore bring forth. What I think and feel is what I manifest. What I think and feel and what I dream is also a manifestation. So dreams are manifestations of thoughts. If I have recurring dreams, I am on my way to similar manifestations. Now, we don't want to say to you only that what I think and how I feel and what I dream becomes a manifestation, because it's not necessary that you have the dream on your way to the manifestation. The dream is a manifestation too. So it would be fair to say that I have this life that I live, that sometimes I live in dreamscape and sometimes I live in full reality. Someone said to us one day, Abraham, I'm not sure that I will do very well with this virtual reality game or the game of imagination, because I don't think I can imagine. And we said, if you can remember, you are imagining. We said to him, do you remember where you live? Do you remember what your house looks like? Do you remember where you put your keys when you are at home? Do you remember where you parked your car? And we said, if you can remember that, if something is conjured in response to those questions, you are using imagination, because none of those things are happening right here and now. So the dreamscape is a way that you can play out the results of your most frequent vibrations. They are very meaningful. If you receive a series of frustrating dreams, it means you're offering a pretty steady vibration of frustration. If you're having blissful dreams, then you're offering a pretty steady vibration of well-being. If you
so the dream is always from me and my vibration.
Always.
It's never an outside.
Always. Well, your inner being is playing with you within it. In other words, the manager, in the way that the manager manages your manifestation, the manager is managing your dreams also. In other words, you pull from all kinds of places in all of your manifestation. But the reason that your dreams feel more fantastic or more extreme is because you do not hold the same limitations about your dream manifestations as you do about your physical manifestations. In other words, Esther flies in her dreams sometimes, and she has yet to do that from her physical human perspective, because it's not an expectation that she holds while she holds it in dream state.
Well, what about when I dream and I don't know what it's about?
Well, if you don't know what it's about, it doesn't really matter. Here is the way we would utilize our dreams most effectively. Before we go to sleep, we would say, I believe I will dream tonight. I will manifest while I sleep, so to speak. And if there is anything significant, I intend to recall it when I awaken. And then in the morning, first thing that you do, as soon as you are aware that you are back into physical consciousness, ask yourself, did I dream? And if you did dream, then ask yourself, even if it's vague, well, how did the dream feel? Because there's much more information that is coming to you in the way the dream feels than in the way that it plays out.
But like when I dream of other people, are they actually in my dream, or is that just me and my vibration?
Oh, we are so happy you ask that. Because it helps us to give you something that we've been giving you already here today that we really want you to hear. As they appear to you in your dream, it is as you have created them to be. As they appear to you in your real life experience, it is as you have created them to be. Do you get the impact of that? You thought it was their fault, didn't you? They behave the way you vibrationally expect and attract.
You know, like I had a dream where a friend of mine who wears a toupee, and in the dream I just saw him, he'd taken his toupee off. You know, it was just a flash where he...
Well, how do you feel about his toupee? In other words, do you admire it? Are you happy that he has it? Are you glad that he has it? Is it a non-issue? Or when you look at it, do you think that's a hairpiece? And
Well, no, nobody knows he wears it. It was a real good hairpiece, but for me it was something that you're hiding about yourself. Why not just be yourself?
And so in your dream, you influenced him to be himself. We'll see how it works out in real life.
When I see him again, and if he took his hairpiece.
Jerry awakened one morning and said to Esther, he had had a very vivid dream, a rather intense dream. And he said, I'm finally getting what Abraham has been talking about. He said, I realized that I created everything in the dream. I created the people. I gave them the words. I put the words in their mouth. I gave them their opinions and attitudes and personalities. Now, part of it is because you see the way people respond, and you accept the way they are responding as something that must be your reality. In other words, have you ever heard anyone say, we're going through a bad neighborhood, don't make eye contact with anyone? And the reason that people have learned that is because if you make eye contact with them, you're sharing a vibration. In other words, you've made them curious about you. You may activate a vibration within you that's curious about them. You may activate a vibration of fear. It may change your experience. And so we say that's true of everything. What you give your attention to causes an activation of a vibration. So we want to come back around to this because this is really the leading edge material that we are coming about here in this gathering, and we really want to leave it in a place that you all hear it and know that you've received it. So you're interacting with someone and you cannot help but observe how they be. And as you observe how they be, you offer a vibration within yourself that causes that to be a stronger and stronger part of your relationship. It's why you come up with the expression that first impressions are lasting impressions. Because as you come together, you offer a vibration, and that vibration is usually reactivated every time you come together. It's why we encourage the process that we call segment intending, which is as you recognize that you are moving into a new segment, that you stop and think about who you are, what you want to accomplish, how you want to feel. You set your own tone so that you get to choose the tone of what happens in the interaction rather than observing someone else's and becoming a part of that. Sometimes we know that it sounds a little bit like there are all these vibrations out here and you have to be careful with them and guarded with them, or else you might get swept up in the current of something else. And we really do not want to give you that impression. We would rather that you understand that all things are possible, that well-being is dominant, and that as you practice just a little bit, thoughts that feel good, that will become your dominant habit of thought, and then it will take something rather big to take you off of it. And even if something does take you off of it, you can easily bring yourself back to the vibration of connection, which is what is most natural for you. Now here's the next thing that we want to say to you. There's all kinds of stuff within you that could potentially be activated. Is your job to root it out? No, you can't. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists. You can't get rid of the thoughts. What you do is practice other thoughts and make them dominant. Can you feel it? You just practice other thoughts and make them dominant. And the life that you live is a reflection of that. So now, as you meet others, as you live your own life, you can tell, but as you meet others, you can tell. And you begin to notice that everybody's living what their vibration is. You can hear it in their words. You can hear it in their attitude. It's like you hear people say, the worse it gets, the worse it gets. I can't win for losing. And you kind of know where their thoughts have been. Their thoughts have been upon the aspects that have been going wrong. Or you hear people say, my life is great, everything is going wonderful, things always turn out all right for me, I always land on my feet, all is well, well-being abounds. You can tell. That's usually where their vibration is. So we don't want your thoughts to scare you. We see some of you offer a word or a statement, and then you go, cancel, cancel. You're afraid that law of attraction is going to drag it and drag you off with it. And we say, well-being is so supreme. There is so much well-being. Well-being is easy to achieve. It's easy to live. Most of you are mostly that. When you look at your planet, that which is not well-being is infinitesimal in relationship to that which is well-being. And in every case, the individual, for whatever reason, has pinched themselves off. Sometimes you say, oh, but my reason is a really big reason. And we say, undoubtedly it is, but it's never a good enough reason. There is no reason ever that is big enough or good enough. that we would ever, if we were standing in your physical shoes, use as our excuse to pinch ourselves off from well-being. We would practice pleasant thoughts, not only because this is the moment of life where all of your perception is happening, but because manifestations that are in your future are dependent upon it now. And one last thing we want to give you about this, since we're really on a roll here. You are extensions of source energy. And isn't it a glorious acknowledgement that in your moment of praise or appreciation or just flat out joy, that all that is source has access to you and through you? And that in fact, that very joy that you thrill to is source energy expressing through you. So when we say we're all in this together, we're not holding you responsible for our ability to focus through you, because we're not dependent upon you. In other words, we are living a glorious life. But when you focus in a way that allows that which is your source to radiate through you, now you're cooking. That's how life is intended to be. That's what you meant when you said, I will come forth into physical. Sometimes you say, well, will I ever get it done? I'd like to rest. I'm a little weary. And we say, if that's the case, then you got resistance going on. When you are free of resistance, you don't get weary. You want more. So sometimes what we see is that in your non-resistant times, you set yourself up for a lot of momentum. And when you're in a state of connection, that momentum takes you on a joyful ride. But then if you get a little off for one reason or another, now the ride is rough. And then you say, what's gone wrong? And we say, nothing's gone wrong. You were in a joyful place. You summoned from your place of clarity. You got lots of momentum going. And then you just diverged back into an old vibration for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. You can always bring yourself back. We want you to begin to feel your job, your work, what you are all about is the hands-on molding of the clay. Part of your life experience is focusing. That's how you create, is through your focus. So we would never again spend any time pondering an unpleasant thought. We would not watch the news. We would not stick our nose in the business of others. We would not try to understand what we cannot understand. We would not try to understand what is happening in another country now, and we would not try to understand what happened in another country 60 years ago or 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 2,000 years ago. We would give our full attention to where we are now, and we would mine our present experience for good feeling thoughts, and we would live happily ever after. That's what we would do.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.